Hi, Bob Smolko from Remax All-American, bringing in the our Principal Success series. And this week we had our 11th Commandment Appreciation Lunch for the educators at Jamestown High School. And I'm here with Dr. Worley, and we're talking about Jamestown High School. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Worley, and we'd like to know, Doctor, if you could give us a little bit of your credential.
Yes, so first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming out today. Our staff really appreciated having you all here. My name's Kathy Worley. I'm in my 25th year in education. I was a teacher for 11 years over in Newport News and Hampton, and I've also been administrator in Hampton and then out in Charlottesville, Virginia. And this is my 9th year as a principal, but 7th year as a high school principal. It's really a blessing to wake up each day to come to a job that I love. I love students. I love the challenges that come with each new day, and I love seeing their eyes light up as they accomplish a goal, whether it be in the classroom with an activity or out on the sports arena. It's really a joy to be around students. They are the future. They are going to be the ones taking care of us when we're older, and they're really bright, and they have a lot of potential, so it's fun. Coming to work each day. I'm not saying it's not a lot of work, because it is, but it is a joy to come to work.
We were at the luncheon. We did. Keith Freeland did congratulate you on an award. What can you fill us in on what you the certification that you just received?
Okay, refresh my memory.
Well, Keith said something to you about. He said congratulations on your accreditation or something. Maybe I misunderstood.
Oh, when you came in, we were,
right.
Again this year, Newsweek and World Report has us as one of the, yes, that's what it was, one of the top schools
you get these big
in
awards,
America.
you should remember them.
Yes. We're also on the top list in schools in Virginia, as well as recognized as a top school in America by Newsweek World Report. The last 2 years, probably 3 years, and this Jamestown's been recognized many years for that award because of the outstanding accomplishments of our students.
Well, as real estate agents, what happens is that people come to us and they ask us about the schools and where they would like to move in the area, or if they're moving up in and changing locations, and they like to know where the boundaries are for specific schools, and it's a big part of location. So.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, what do you think, and I know that all James City County schools and Williamsburg, James City County schools have pretty much the same vision. Is there something that stands out about the Jamestown Eagles in your mind that sets you apart from?
Well, first and foremost, let me say that you're absolutely right. Williamsburg, James City County is a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful school system. I enjoy learning with students and collaborating with all my colleagues, principals across the district. I would say for Jamestown, of course, I'm very proud of the teachers in the school, the students in this school. I think one thing that really makes this a great place to be is the motivation, the access, the dedication, and the spirit. Our students are so full of energy, so full of school spirit. They're motivated, they have initiative, and if they don't have that motivation or initiative, we have a staff that is able to show them opportunity, to give them access to challenging curriculum, to help them realize what it is that they want to do in life and get them on a track in school that will take them to that career path, whether it be straight out of school into the world of work, into the military, into a 2-year college, into a 4-year college. We have access to information for students on every path to help them be successful.
Well, on our website, we have a lot of, and just to let people know what this interview is about, is that we have a lot of statistical websites that you can travel through, but I don't think it really gives the personality of the school, and I personally think that the principal is the, is the leader of the school and is the real face of the school, and that's why we're doing these interviews, just to get that more subjective look at the school. Can you tell us, like, for example, in your, let's break it down to a weekly schedule, like what percentage of your time would be spent as a leader of your team, your educators, and what percent is spent doing the mundane administrative tasks, and then the real fun part, what I would think the fun part is,
Yes.
hands down with the kids.
Well, first off,
young adults.
Let me say, as a high school principal, that's a 24/7 job. Your life is not really your own, so you need to love it. I spend a lot of time in the trenches with the kids because they're the heartbeat of the school, the students along with the teachers. That's where it is. In a perfect world, I'd be in classrooms every day, most of the day. We have a goal specifically for my leadership team here. I challenge them to at least do walkthroughs in classrooms, at least 10 a week, to get out and walk the building, to interact, build those relationships. We spend a lot of time at events, supervising students. And if I'm at a bell change in the hallway, on any given day, I probably have 20, 30 students say, Dr. Worley, you're coming to the game tonight. You're coming to the swim meet. You're going to be here. Are you going to put us on Twitter? They love to have us there. They love to see the support, and we love being there. Unfortunately, we do have lots of paperwork that does tie us down. So I don't know that I could put exact percentages on things, but 60 to 70% of the time I'm out with the kids and the students. And the other 30% plus the other 30% at home at night, I'm doing paperwork.
I'm sure, because it involves the government. Whenever they're involved, there's paperwork involved. But we did talk a lot about what's the difference in, like we went back to the different the same goals of all the schools, and we have 3 high schools in the area. And they all pretty much have the same vision and mission statements. But how do you fare out when it comes to, I think the best measure of a lot of the students is not just their education, but their involvement in the community as citizens, and becoming citizens in the future. And what's their involvement in the community? We talked a little bit about that.
Wow. I don't know if you all can see this, but this list represents the number of clubs and that we have followed, and then also this is the number of athletic opportunities. I mean, our kids are involved, and that's important. We tell them, one part about being successful in high school is making connections. You've got to find a place that you belong in your high school. So with that being said, whether they're on an athletic team or in a club, the majority of these clubs, they're going to do some type of outreach in the community because we are a community and we want to give back to our community, whether it's, working at a shelter or going over to the elementary school and reading to the elementary students. Excuse me. We had our football team this year for the first time recognize an Eaglet of the Week, and they go visit certain elementary schools, and an elementary student would be nominated, and at the beginning, Friday Night Lights, at the beginning of a game, they'd be on the field, and we'd honor this Eaglet of the Week and have them stand on the sideline before the kickoff of the game. One of our clubs in the social studies venue, Rho Kappa, they're out in the community all the time, volunteering at events, helping run events. And a lot of our kids are in National Honor Society, and one of the credentials for getting in the National Honor Society is spending many hours in community service. So that's one of the values that we do see as very important, as being an Eagle and being a member or a student at Jamestown High School. We also do blood drives. Mr. Ambler, one of our teachers here, works with our students, and our students run at least 4 blood drives a year, I believe. And our students are very active in giving blood, as well as having people from the community come in and give blood.
Well, on another note, in preparation to become not just good citizens, but just normal citizens, is that one of the questions that have been coming up for us, Keith Freeland is a cohort of mine putting on these events here, and we've been hit with these questions in qualifying some very the younger buyers, the next generation of buyers, first-time home buyers, and a lot of them are really taken back by the complexity of the process. In their defense, so are we. I mean, because it's ever changing minute by minute, with again going back to the government and paperwork. But a lot of the young people in their early 30s are saying, "Geez, I wonder why didn't we learn this in school?" And at the luncheon we were discussing this, and you have a new department, a recent department that covers that area?
Well, one of the requirements, a new requirement for graduation now that's in effect now, I think in its second year, is the personal finance course, which does look at some of the basics of financial literacy, whether it be your checking account, investing, purchasing homes, equity, that kind of thing. That's a new thing that the State Department has put in place that is a requirement for every student to pass that course in order to graduate high school, which I think is a good thing. Some students naturally know about a lot of those, but some do not. So it's a good basic course that we expect all students to go through before graduation.
Well, and it's helpful, I think, to us and a lot of the students do have parents to guide them, but I know when I bought my first house, my father's experience was totally different from the way the world was when I bought a house, and he wasn't much. I gotta be honest, he wasn't a lot of help because he didn't understand it any more than we did, because it's like we discussed, it's always changing. So it's very good for the high schools to be involved in that. One of the things, and I like to look at the interviews that we close the interview with, is on the Windows 10 had a commercial out that said, and had a bunch of young children running around, and says one of these kids is going to change the world. And my question to all the principals, is my last question usually is in this case, is Jamestown ready for that, and how are we prepared? And I'm looking at it from the technology standpoint, because that's where I think it's really a necessity today.
Yes, we are absolutely ready to prepare students to change the world, and I'm going to say this for a couple of reasons. Number one, technology is wonderful. I'm a big fan of technology. If you're not a fan of technology, you have to embrace technology, because that is the future. However, with education, we don't need to use technology for technology's sake. We need to use technology as a way of enhancing the learning in the classroom, and as a supplement to instruction, and as a tool for a student to learn, not just to say, hey, I used an iPad or I went to a website. The fact is, these students that we have today, they don't know anything but technology. They've grown up with these things in our hands, which when I was in college, this was a whole room, the technology in this one little device here.
I think his name was Hal.
Yeah. So the key to this is we don't really know what we're exactly preparing our students for. I mean, we don't know what the world is going to look like 10 years from now, because technology is ever changing every second. Back in the day when I was in school, my teachers knew exactly what I would need to know to graduate from high school, to go get my 4-year degree in education. There wasn't a question about that. But now we don't know what they need to know. But what we do need to know, what we do know is that we need to teach kids to be team players, problem solvers, critical thinkers. They need to embrace technology. They need to know about technology. They need to be technology literate, and they need to be not afraid to try new things, because they're gonna, and also lifelong learners. I mean, they're gonna have to be self-motivated and entrepreneurs that are gonna try to figure things out, because we don't know what we need to know in the future. And when someone is on a job 20 years from now, it's gonna be totally different than what that same job looks like now. And the job now might not be in existence in 20 years. So we've got just to inspire these kids, enhance their curiosity, and help them to be seekers of knowledge, and to facilitate the learning opportunities so that they're learning on their own, and we're not just feeding them material, because anybody can memorize information and give it back to you. But it's those self-motivated lifelong learners that are going to change the world and be running the world 20 years from now.
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to bring out the highlights of your school and put a face on the school, and allowing us to come in and thank the teachers, because, as we say, you're holding the future in your hands.
Yes.
And we're appreciative of that. So
thank you so much for
I'd
coming
like to
today.
thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
So, thanks.
Mm-hmm.